While toiling under the weight of cement at the construction site to repay my debts, the comments dubbed me a venomous supporting character. In the year when financial desperation clawed at my heels, I emulated the heroine, Su Wanwan, and boldly approached the affluent male lead, Gu Jian. The young master was simply too wealthy. Even a mere trickle from his fingers would suffice to alleviate my burdensome debts and cover my tuition fees. I was a destitute soul willing to resort to any means for the sake of money. In a bid to win the affections of this aloof young master, I masqueraded as a demure and fragile flower for an entire year. Just as I was on the brink of successfully infiltrating the affluent circle through marriage, Su Wanwan unexpectedly reappeared before Gu Jian. I presumed my pursuit had faltered, yet my debts were settled. No longer in disguise, I returned to the slums. On that fateful night of homelessness, I encountered a strategist who mistook me for the heroine and took me into his home. 1. As the chauffeur of the Gu family requested me to disembark, I sensed the disdain of Gu Jian for me. Apologies, Miss Wei, but I am not here to escort you to play chess with the young master today. The young master has arranged a birthday celebration for Miss Su Wanwan, and I am here to fetch her. The driver maintained a rather courteous demeanor. As fellow workers, I refrained from causing a scene that would put him in a difficult position. I closed the car door and declared, "Is that so? Then I shall return on my own." Truthfully, I was not entirely surprised. I had anticipated this day since Su Wanwan's appearance. However, not even partaking in a game of Go? His affection for her is profound. Gu Jian cherished the game of Go as if it were his very lifeblood, having insisted that I accompany him daily for the past 6 months. The distance from my residence was considerable, prompting him to rent an apartment for me in close proximity to the Gu estate to alleviate the inconvenience of commuting. He even arranged for a dedicated driver to transport me. Gu Jian proved to be quite the enigma, a cold and aristocratic young man, inherently aloof with lofty aspirations. His prohibitions outweighed his affections, leading a reclusive life, emotionally detached, with his sole interest being the game of Go. The heroine Su Wanwan was unfamiliar with the intricacies of Go. Thus, I took it upon myself to learn. I made sacrifices, reducing my part-time jobs, and immersed myself in the Go club, starting from scratch. I possess an innate aptitude for learning, quickly becoming one of the few capable of challenging him in a match. It was through this shared interest that I gained his favor. As a fellow Go enthusiast, Gu Jian found some delight in conversing with me, once expressing his thoughts during a game. At that moment, the traditional courtyard was adorned with verdant bamboo and cypress trees outside the window, and the tea room was perfumed with the gentle curling of incense. The youth, resembling cold jade, toyed with a string of agarwood beads in his hand, his dark, piercing eyes seemingly capable of unraveling the deepest recesses of one's heart. Observing a game is akin to observing a person. Aoyang on the board resembles a gambler waging all, quite unexpectedly. Indeed, I was a reckless gambler. Yet I lost. Go had been my trump card, and the moment Su Wanwan made her entrance, my year of effort unraveled. Fortunately, I still had the apartment rented by Gu Jian to call home. The comments on the live stream erupted with delight at this turn of events. This slap in the face is so satisfying. The learned one is finally being discarded. Haha. Our beloved heroine merely needs to show her face for Gu Jian's heart to be instantly captivated. This is the distinction between genuine and counterfeit. I am genuinely astounded. Look at the expression of the learned one. Is she about to concoct some mischief again? I implore the malicious supporting character to exit the stage swiftly. Spare us the disgust. I sat by the roadside, rubbing my face in exasperation. I had no time to heed the comments, for I had just received a message from my landlord. The lease on the apartment Gu Jian rented for me was expiring today. With no funds to renew, I was confronted with a dire survival dilemma. Where would I sleep tonight? I first returned to the rented room to pack my belongings, though in my impoverished state, there was little to gather. I searched for the most affordable hotels in the city and promptly abandoned the idea. Had I known this would transpire, I would have refrained from adopting the lofty pretensions of Su Wanwan. Regret washed over me for not extracting more financial support from Gu Jian. With empty pockets, I dragged my suitcase back from the bustling heart of a city to the most dilapidated slum. Strange? According to the plot, shouldn't Tiwei Liang seek out Gu Jian to garner sympathy? Where is she heading? I can't stop laughing. She doesn't think that after a few days of absence, Gu Jian will come looking for her, does she? She must be concocting something grand. The story's most nefarious antagonist surely believes that Wawan has stolen Gu Jian and is plotting her revenge. I simply felt ravenous. When my stomach is empty, my temper tends to flare. The comments were but a cacophony in the air. I could not afford to lose my composure, as I could not even afford the cheapest inn in the slum. The map indicated a 24-hour McDonald's nearby. I followed the navigation, pulling my suitcase along, intending to rest my head on a table there for the night. Passing through a dimly lit alley, I was suddenly confronted by several hulking shadows. 5 ruffians encircled me. Ah, how did this scene manifest here? Isn't this the third female character, who is envious of Su Wanwan, hiring this band of ne'er-do-wells? Perhaps there will be a hero saving the damsel in distress soon? But Gu Jian is currently with Su Wanwan. He wouldn't be able to rush over, would he? Wei Liang deserves this. Who told her to imitate Wanwan at every turn? She brought this upon herself. That nefarious supporting character Xu Nti meets such a fate. Hurry and call the police. My hunger intensified, and my irritation mounted. Yet the comments had just mentioned. Social miscreants? Do they have any prior offenses? I scrutinized the 5 thugs and suddenly spoke up. How much money do you have on you? 5 minutes later. 4 of them lay sprawled on the ground in disarray. I maintained a cold demeanor, gripping one of their necks. Haven't returned in over a year. And you no longer recognize your father? Is this your first day on the streets? What audacity to act so brazenly in my presence. I continued. When I shattered the skull of a criminal, you weren't even released yet. I collected the scattered bills into my pocket while banging his head against the wall with practiced cruelty. You 5 grown men possess so little money. Are you trying to deceive me? I demanded. Is there more? Speak up. The comments fell into a deathly silence. No. What just transpired? So, the supporting character possesses such a persona? Why does she appear even more adept than the opposition? I can't believe it. I replayed that several times. The other side comprises 5 adult males. Did she just dislocate one of their jaws with a single punch? The remaining 4 ruffians immediately wailed for mercy. That's all there is. Truly, we have nothing left, dear lady. We're all from the same circle. Grant us a reprieve. We failed to recognize the mountain of a person before us. Please show us some grace. Suddenly, a young man in white burst onto the scene, staring at me in disbelief. I heard an electronic voice. System. Host, are you quickly saving her? Is this not the innocent heroine? Strange young man. I am equally perplexed, System. Did you not say the plot of this world had collapsed, and I was to come save the innocent flower? I glanced at this unexpected visitor with mild surprise. Under the dim streetlight, a tall, slender figure in white appeared somewhat disheveled, with features so exquisite they resembled those of a celestial being. Light and ethereal, like a handful of snow delicately settled in this murky realm. Inside McDonald's, I voraciously devoured a burger. The stranger introduced himself as Bai Shi, a well-meaning citizen who happened to pass by. The comments were rife with questions. Who is this handsome fellow? Doesn't he appear in the story? It seemed that only I could hear the dialogue between Bai Shi and the system. System. Bangs, white dress, seems impoverished, and looks the part. She must be the innocent heroine. The innocent heroine? It appeared they were referring to Su Wanwan. They had mistaken me for the heroine. Bai Shi. Looks the part? Your system is even less reliable than I am. Did you not read the plot summary? System. With so many worlds to manage, how could I possibly remember every protagonist's name? This particular world has encountered some issues. The supporting character has deviated from the main storyline, causing the heroine to remain in the slum. The limited information I can glean indicates that she fits every aspect of the heroine's archetype. She must be. Unaware of the heroine's name, Bai Shi inquired about my name, and I swallowed a mouthful of burger. Wei Liang. The system clearly remained oblivious to the inconsistency and continued its discussion with Bai Shi. System. It doesn't matter if the heroic rescue segment is incomplete. As long as you connect with the heroine, that's sufficient. Your mission is to assume the role of the second male lead, redeeming the impoverished flower of the slum. I could not help but smirk, a cold laugh bubbling within me. Both Su Wanwan and I hailed from the same slum. She hails from a blissful family, a poverty-stricken student who managed to enroll in an elite private high school. Her parents, sacrificing everything, worked tirelessly to support her. Throughout her life, fortune smiled upon her, culminating in a marriage to a wealthy heir from a prestigious lineage. Yet, the most arduous fate belongs to those born in the slums. What redemption could she possibly seek? As for me, my parents never contributed a single penny. I relied on the kindness of neighbors to cover my compulsory education fees. Upon graduating from middle school, they forcibly married me off to an elderly bachelor in exchange for a dowry of 100,000. It was only when I brandished a kitchen knife in a fit of rage that I severed ties and escaped. I scrounged for loans, toiled at construction sites, and juggled various part-time jobs to earn tuition, only to be vilified in the comments as a vile antagonist. Why does no one come to redeem me? Why must all the good fortune be heaped upon Su Wanwan? Those two fools mistook the wrong person. I thought maliciously. At least I managed to enjoy a free meal at McDonald's. After our meal, Baishi offered to escort me home. I glanced at him and replied, "I shall sleep here tonight." Baishi was taken aback. "Sleep here?" I leaned against the table, my tone icy. "I have no home to return to." "System, a splendid opportunity awaits, host. You ought to take her home. It will strengthen your bond. Defeating the male lead to ascend is your additional task." I scoffed internally. Yet, in the next moment, Baishi pulled out his phone, tapped a few times, and turned the screen towards me. It displayed a reservation for a chain hotel. Baishi, how could I bring a young girl home? What kind of foolish system is this? Baishi flashed me a carefree smile. "The hotel is nearby. I've already paid. Just change the registration information to your own when you check in. Do you need me to escort you?" I was stunned. I stared at the order page for quite some time. "I have no money left. I can't repay this."
Baishi Gapet?
Baishi. "Oh my, there's someone poorer than me." System. This little flower of a female lead is on the brink of starvation. Hurry, provide some funds. System. No money available. Baishi, what? How can we redeem the female lead without funds? Can't you see she is in dire need of money? System. It's already a miracle that we managed to get you here without turning into a black household. The money for your McDonald's meal and hotel reservation was all from Huabei, by the way. Baishi's expression faltered. Baishi, this is rather embarrassing. Huabei. I was also taken aback. Isn't the system supposed to be all-powerful in novels? I thought I could exploit their funds. It turns out he is a pauper too. I returned the phone to him and pointed at the payment method on the order. "You used Huabei." Then I leaned back down. Baishi's embarrassment didn't last long. "But it's all right," he snapped his fingers. "I have a way to make money." Baishi led me to the busiest intersection in the city. There, he set up a stall to tell fortunes. I couldn't hold back my laughter. I thought he had some great money-making scheme. But fortune-telling? Ha ha ha. Indeed. Handsome men often have eccentricities. Wei Liang sat beside him, exuding a sense of misfortune. I just came from Gujian and Wanwan side, where the male and female leads were hosting a lavish birthday party at a luxury hotel. Meanwhile, here we were, the malicious female antagonist and an unknown male supporting character, swatting mosquitoes at a crossroads. What a stark contrast. I also just came from next door, but something feels off. It seems different from the novel. Gu Jian appears rather aloof, frequently checking his phone. That's normal, his character is like that and they've only just met. Soon, he'll be softened by the sunny disposition of the female lead. Wei Liang took more than half a year to play chess with him. And it wasn't too long after meeting Wanwan that he hosted a birthday party. I watched the comments with a blank expression, swatting away the mosquitoes that had settled on me. It felt like a return to square one. Regardless, I had exhausted all my options. What could I do if I couldn't ascend to that social class? I pulled out my second-hand phone to check messages. "No service, your phone balance is insufficient."
Ha.
I glanced at the strategist beside me. Baishi sat calmly on a stool, exuding an air of relaxation. I couldn't help but point at the sign, 51 times.
Who would pay for that?
Baishi remained unfazed. "Someone will. I just divined a fortune, and today, we definitely won't be sleeping on the streets." I could maintain such composure. I had already planned to deliver takeout tomorrow. Divination? You really know how to tell fortunes? Baishi, I can also observe, look. Isn't someone coming? The first customer was a wealthy urban lady, her attire worth more than our lives combined. She was drawn in by Baishi's looks.
Oh.
Handsome young man, can you tell fortunes? She merely glanced at her and suddenly declared, entangled in legal disputes, plagued by mischievous spirits, my lady. Quickly check if your father has any other children. Your financial fortune will be elusive after the age of 35. The woman's expression shifted, her frivolity evaporating. Master, can you reveal more? She sat up straighter, his demeanor cool. Your birth date and time. As she calculated and divined, he lowered his gaze in contemplation. Seemingly transformed. The once bustling intersection slowed to a halt, as if the very air thickened with anticipation. The carefree demeanor of the youth vanished, replaced by an ethereal, detached certainty, as if destiny coalesced at his fingertips. The woman departed, profusely grateful, leaving behind a substantial sum. Wait, does he truly possess such abilities? Crowds flowed by, and several onlookers gathered, intrigued by the spectacle. Can you read my fortune too? Read mine.
Wow.
So accurate. Master, can I have your contact information?
See.
Youthful and handsome, captivated his audience, drawing in more passers-by. The crowd thickened, forming a lengthy queue. I merely held up the payment code, too busy to focus on anything else. The earnings poured in throughout the night, and the comments flooded the screen. Wow, this is incredible. Is he a divine fortune teller? Can I get a reading too? Hey, you can't deny that when this handsome guy was telling fortunes, he did have an air of celestial grace. I watched in awe. Yet, unbeknownst to the comments, the very celestial grace they praised was now lamenting to the system. She, who tricked me into becoming a strategist, promising I could experience the life of a rich second generation? I had prepared to squander wealth, and now you're telling me it's starting from scratch in another world? I never anticipated I'd have to return to my old profession. System, my apologies, dear She. Just call me your little brother. Wadashi is just an intern. Please don't report me to the main system. An intern system and a mid-level strategist? I suddenly felt even more lost about the road ahead. However, She surprisingly maintained a good temper, addressing the system. Let's just take it step by step. Such a serene mindset. As midnight approached, the streets grew quieter, and I repeatedly checked my balance. She glanced at the money. Let us pack up and go. This amount will cover your food and lodging for a month. I paused for a moment. Are you planning to support me? She. I'm this broke, but I calculated, and it seems we're fated to cross paths. We can mutually shield each other from misfortune. In the future, I'll tell fortunes, and you'll protect me. All right? I was taken aback. But adhering to the principle of if there's a bargain to be had, seize it, I nodded. She pulled out his phone to book the hotel. I immediately grasped his hand. Since we're already this poor, let us not split the hotel room. Renting an apartment is cheaper. A 2-bedroom apartment costs less than half the price of staying a month in a hotel. In a state of utter destitution, what harm could there be in cohabiting with the opposite sex? It's merely a means of economizing. She let out a soft hiss. But it's so late now. There's no way to find a rental. I can manage, I replied confidently. Having endured the harsh realities of slum life for over a decade, I am adept at exploiting opportunities and employing the most frugal strategies available to those in poverty. I quickly rifled through my mental database. I know a place. The deposit is merely 200. Follow me. She was pulled along through winding alleys, and we swiftly inspected a quaint 2-bedroom apartment in a low-rise building. Though modest, it boasted all the essentials. The elderly landlord initially demanded 2,000, but She negotiated it down to 1,800. I boldly interjected 1,200. Those who dwell in poverty are often at a disadvantage. After all, I was raised in the slums. Upon signing the lease, She admired me with a thumbs up. We would not be spending the night on the streets. At dawn, I awoke and topped up my phone with credit, my second-hand device finally connected to the internet. Upon opening WeChat, I noticed an unread message from Guji and one missed call. I ignored it. Instead, I opened a food delivery app and swiftly registered to become a courier. Just as I was about to head out, She stopped me, his hair tousled and clearly just awakened by the system's summons. Don't you start school at 8? What are you doing out at 5? He inquired. Delivering food. I replied rationally, laying out my plan. I stayed up too late yesterday, and I have a 2-hour window this morning to earn some money. I intend to rise early tomorrow to assist at a breakfast shop. That would provide me with a part-time job. The school's lunch break is lengthy, allowing me to deliver food right after class, and the electric bike is quite convenient. You can manage alone. After school, I'll see if I can pick up some tutoring gigs. The only advantage of attending this dismal school is that it's filled with the affluent. Today, I'll inquire among those less academically inclined scions. Oh, heavens! The female supporting character's plight is so tragic, it feels as though her struggles surpass those of the female lead. What does her hardship have to do with her malice? We both grew up in the slums, yet she lacks the cunning that I possess. She stared at me in a moment of disbelief, muttering, "Even our orphanage doesn't treat minors this harshly." I paused, cautiously asking, "An orphanage?" She nonchalantly nodded, "Yes, I grew up in an orphanage, but don't concern yourself with part-time work. I'll find a way to manage finances." He rubbed his face, becoming more alert. "Let me calculate this. Even if you follow your plan, you won't earn more in a month than what I made from fortune-telling last night. But this income is highly unstable." The cost of living in City A is exorbitant. I have yet to secure rent, not to mention upcoming university tuition, I retorted. She gazed at me intently, and I could hear him conversing with the system in amazement. How could this delicate flower have such a miserable existence? System, send her money. The system, rubbing its hands together like a fly. Private Marseille, I haven't yet located the body of a wealthy heir for you to inhabit. Never mind. I'll handle it. System, activate auto-ordering. As soon as there's a wealthy client in need of fortune-telling services, put me forward. I'm new to this world and lack any reputation. System, understood. I will facilitate your orders. With newfound assurance, she pushed me back towards my room. Go back to sleep. This money should suffice for a few days. You're in your final year of high school. Focus on your studies. I indulged in a brief nap, and after moving here, I needed to wake an hour earlier for school. I rummaged through my suitcase in the living room, hoping to find my school uniform. To my dismay, the suitcase was empty. Frowning, I looked up to see my freshly laundered uniform and other garments hanging on the balcony. Last night, I took the liberty of washing your clothes. I checked earlier, and they're already dry. Change and join me for a meal. She called from the kitchen, where the sound of clattering utensils filled the air. She is unexpectedly domestic. How delightful. To the sisters upstairs, I understand you. What a contrast. I thought he was the disheveled type, but it turns out he can take care of others. I momentarily lost my train of thought. My own kitchen had never seen the warmth of a meal. My father, a chronic gambler and drinker, would be sound asleep in bed, forcing me to tread lightly as a child. Any noise would incite his wrath, resulting in verbal abuse or worse. I feared not the beatings but the possibility of being late. My breakfasts were often skipped, as my mother, after being beaten by my father, would weep and share her woes with me, only to neglect me the following day while still preparing meals for him. Seeing my predicament, my teacher would allow me to arrive early, sharing her breakfast with me. No one had ever cooked for me, nor did I ever learn to cook myself. As my part-time work consumed my time, I simply ate whatever was available. After changing into my uniform and heading to the bathroom to wash up, I was taken aback once more. My toothbrush and cup, which had been haphazardly tossed into my suitcase, were now neatly arranged on the sink, with paper towels placed beneath them. The sink, which I distinctly remembered being unkempt last night, had been tidied. Don't look, supporting female lead. You just want to sleep. And, she has cleaned the house. This husband material is delightful. It feels more appealing than the leads next door. I'm living here now. Once I finished washing up, she was busy serving up a meal. I initially planned to order takeout, but I miscalculated the delivery time due to this location's remoteness, he explained. You'll have to make do with this. It's just a little something to fill your stomach. He ladled out 2 bowls of plain noodles, and just as I reached for the chopsticks, she deftly handed them to me. I suddenly asked, "Are you accustomed to taking care of others?" She casually settled into a seat across from me. I was the eldest child at the orphanage, so I'm used to looking after the younger ones. To be honest, I consider myself rather lazy. I have a sister a year or 2 younger than me, and she is far more capable. He was about to take a bite when he noticed my silence and quickly apologized. "Oh, my apologies. Did I offend you? I'm just used to tidying up after the little ones. I saw your suitcase and thought to help." "It's fine. Thank you," I interjected. "But I'm not a child." She replied, Anyone underage is still a child. I suddenly recalled the neatly arranged items on the sofa. The bag containing undergarments had been tucked away inside. This was the only thing he had not organized. I felt a twinge of embarrassment as I lowered my head to eat the noodles, but then I considered that she, having grown up in an orphanage, was accustomed to communal living and perhaps held a less rigid view of gender roles. As I slurped my noodles, I overheard she conversing with the system again. She, goodness. Someone can actually eat the food I've prepared? What kind of life has this delicate flower endured? How pitiful. I paused. I'm not picky about food. In my childhood, during the most desperate times, I would rummage through the neighbor's trash for leftover meals. Returning to school proved to be a challenge. Following the events of yesterday's birthday banquet, my peers unanimously deemed me, the former Cinderella, to be out of favor. The affluent young ladies and gentlemen eagerly fanned the flames, relishing the sight of two impoverished girls tearing at each other's hair. Rumors spread like wildfire, and they reveled in gossip about my father's gambling and drinking, fabricating tales about my mother selling herself. They mocked my past of scavenging for food from dumpsters in the slums, contrasting me unfavorably with Su Wanwan, making the disparity glaringly apparent. Many began to assert that I had usurped Su Wanwan's special admission slot. They derided me as a scheming, impoverished girl seeking to ensnare a wealthy suitor. Hurling disparaging remarks my way, I found myself intentionally isolated, as some individuals sought to make me uncomfortable. I buried myself in my studies, largely indifferent to the chaos around me. I could filter out even the loudest of comments, so these rumors hardly fazed me. However, during my lunch at the restaurant, I encountered a bit of trouble. No, to be precise, someone sought to create trouble for me. Oh no, those malicious antagonists are heading this way. These wealthy young masters and ladies often bully Wei Liang. A formidable entourage of rich boys and girls approached, their presence instantly creating a wide berth around them. The students from ordinary families who frequented the restaurant held their plates defensively, retreating at the sight of such pomp. These nobles had their exclusive dining rooms and rarely set foot in what they disdainfully referred to as the commoner's cafeteria. It was evident they were here to provoke. Wei Liang, how dare you still show your face at school? Isn't that the young lady who fancies Gu Jian? Two venomous female antagonists facing off. The young lady exaggeratedly pinched her nose. What is that foul odor? Wei Liang, I heard you enjoy scavenging for food in trash bins? Such hardship. Should we donate some money to you? I lifted my head, my expression calm. Sure. How much will you donate? The group opposite me paused. Then a raucous laughter erupted among the boys and girls. One young man scoffed. How amusing. She's actually asking for money? Another wealthy scion shot me a contemptuous glance. This kind of girl likes to feign innocence. Who knows how much she's extracted from Gu Jian and still wants more? Let's teach her a lesson, he said, seizing my plate and dousing me with its contents. I dodged quickly, avoiding a soaking of my hair, but a considerable amount of soup splattered onto my clothes.
Wow.
She's learned to dodge, has she? The comments were ablaze with righteous indignation. I can't believe it. I thought it was just verbal mockery. But these people are truly bullying her. Isn't this bullying? Come on, retaliate. Isn't Wei Liang supposed to be good at fighting? I want to see a thrilling story unfold. She can't fight. Can she afford the consequences? They are a bunch of wealthy kids. Squashing someone like her is as easy as stepping on an ant. What? Isn't the female antagonist speaking? I turned my head, silently glaring at the stain. My school uniform, once pristine, was now sullied beyond recognition. My meal, especially the dongpa pork that I relished, had been upended. Once hunger set in, my temper would be exceedingly foul. Two boys seized me, dragging me away with my head bowed and an ominous expression. Here we were again. When I first arrived, they frequently brought me to the restroom. These privileged offspring never resorted to public violence. A few slaps, kicks, hair-pulling, and insults were all they dared. Ever since I gained access to Gu's residence through chess and climbed the social ladder with Gu Jian, they had ceased their bullying. Now, seeing me in disfavor, they were clearly intent on settling old scores alongside new grievances. Several boys blocked the door, pushing me into a corner. The young lady, flanked by her entourage, approached me, and I grabbed a bottle from the nearby vanity. How dare she touch my Chanel? Wretched girl, if you spill even a drop, I'll make you pay. The bottle struck her squarely in the face. Amidst her shrieks, I remained expressionless, hurling one after another, each hitting its mark with precision. The room soon filled with a mingling of fragrances, creating an overwhelming atmosphere. As they screamed and lunged at me, I expressionlessly seized one of them and slammed him against the wall. I followed up with an elbow strike to another, ensuring that each movement in this brawl was purposeful and impactful. The soundproofing was excellent, and there were no cameras. These pampered imbeciles were so fragile. In moments, they were curled up in pain on the floor, howling uncontrollably. I had restrained my strength, merely inflicting pain without causing any lasting injury. Holy cow. This is so satisfying. I even punched the boss in excitement. This is exhilarating. My blood is boiling. Well done. I locked the door, blocking the exit. The young man who had splashed my meal was the loudest, contorted in agony as I pressed my foot on his shoulder, forcing him to kneel and wail. I grabbed the arm I had just dislocated and irritatedly slapped him. Shut up, you fool. Is it just a broken arm? I'll put it back. With another scream and a crack, I reattached it. Twirling the knife I had confiscated from them, my voice was icy. Everyone, quiet down. If anyone makes a sound, I will stab their eyes out with this. They immediately shrank back in fear, none daring to utter a word. Did you see? I've installed pinhole cameras in the restroom. It's quite amusing. There are hundreds of videos of students being bullied and even. I elongated my words, their eyes widening in shock. Oh dear, what about contraband? If these were to land in your parents' competitors' inboxes, how much do you think they would pay to get those videos trending? What a tremendous loss that would be, not to mention the potential for an investigation. Their eyes reflected genuine terror. Of course, these can remain hidden forever. So, let us discuss the bullying I've endured. Don't you think you should cover my medical expenses and compensation for emotional distress? They nodded fervently, echoing in agreement. Absolutely, absolutely. I stated in cash. Wow, Sister Wei, you're incredible. It turns out being the antagonist feels this good. Smart and tough. Sister Wei, I'm following you from now on. Anyone who insults you, I'll retort for you. What were you thinking provoking her? Now look, you've all been beaten to a pulp and still have to pay up. Laughing like fools, this scene resembles collecting protection fees. How societal. These mere cannon fodder antagonists are all mere juniors before Sister Wei. Take a good look. She is the ultimate antagonist in this story. They can't even tell the difference between the king and the pawn. Little brothers, bow in reverence to you. Commanding the comments was as easy as training a dog, with the screen flooded with praises for the story, opinions swinging from one extreme to the other. 10 minutes later, I collected the cash and glanced at the young man. My school uniform. I'll compensate. I'll compensate. He hurriedly produced a thick wad of cash, his tone submissive.
I'll pay.
Let us negotiate peacefully. Before leaving, I issued them one last warning. If you dare to trouble me again, I assure you, those videos will swiftly make their way into trending news. Consider the losses. What you've paid today is but a fraction. I pushed the door open and stepped out. The barefoot are unafraid of those in shoes. They feared me more. With some time left in the lunch break, I traversed the corridor, waiting for the elevator to return to the restaurant. Suddenly, the elevator doors slid open. I locked eyes with a pair of cold, raven black ones. The satin black shirt clung to a porcelain neck, frosted like white china. The faint glimmering emerald glowed like a cold serpent coiled around the young man's collarbone, wafting a subtle scent of agarwood. Gu Jian should not be here. He never remained at school during lunch. The comments, previously buzzing with Sister Wei is incredible, fell silent in an instant. Then, 3 capitalized words flooded the screen. What? Gu Jian. Why is the male lead here? Someone in the restaurant seemed to contact Gu Jian earlier. I didn't expect him to actually come. Oh no. We're back to the rivalry between 2 women over 1 man.
Liang.
The young man's gaze fell upon the stain on my shoulder, his voice icy. Did they bully you? I gazed at him with an expressionless face, momentarily unsure how to interact with this former employer whose favor I had lost. However, I supposed I was out of the game now. Treating him like an ordinary classmate would allow me to distance myself from the main plot, right? So, I denied it.
No.
I then politely stepped aside to give him room, turning to enter the elevator. Gu Ziyan's expression grew tense. I have already pressed the button for the first floor. The young man turned around, only to witness the elevator doors slowly closing. Gu Jian stood still, his frosty gaze fixated upon me. I met his gaze with a blank expression and hastened to press the close button. The elevator doors completely severed the lingering aroma of dark incense and obstructed the probing stare. When the doors opened, chaos ensued within the room. As a group of individuals helped each other up, each bearing their injuries and cursing under their breath. Upon seeing the tall, dark figure at the entrance, they instantly fell silent, fear etched across their faces. His icy, penetrating gaze seemed to regard everything as mere inanimate objects, akin to a serpent's flickering tongue, sweeping slowly over each person's wounds. Gu Jian's eyes shifted, a peculiar glimmer igniting deep within their depths. His voice, chilling to the marrow, sent shivers down the spines of all present. How intriguing. The onlookers cast sympathetic glances in my direction, yet I remained unfazed, shouldering the remnants of my lunch as I completed my afternoon classes. When one possesses wealth, one can afford to overlook the world's injustices. As I slung my bag over my shoulder and prepared to leave, a girl could no longer contain herself and pulled me aside. Wei Liang, how did you manage that? Those individuals were all sent home this afternoon for reflection, and I heard they faced severe repercussions. A question mark appeared above my head, and I instinctively glanced at the barrage of comments. As expected of Sister Wei, just 2 words made Gu Jian send those cannon fodder packing. What nonsense. It was clearly our kind-hearted one who spoke up first. The scheming supporting character shouldn't get too carried away. And certainly shouldn't he use this to seek attention from Gu Jian. How can you speak to our Sister Wei like that, you brain-dead fans? I'll send a truckload of bread to deal with you. Quiet down, everyone. Gu Jian seems to be coming this way. I'm investing in Wei Liang. I wonder how Sister Wei will leave. It was of no concern to me. I was eager to visit the ATM, converting the cash in my hands into warm numbers on my bank card. Oh no, she's speeding up. She's practically power walking now. Why is she running so fast? I had no choice but to quicken my pace. The real-time updates on the distance between Gu Jian and me added an exhilarating thrill to this chase. Upon my return, several luxury cars were parked in the slums, with a young man standing tall amidst a crowd. Oh, dear, Master Bai. How could you possibly reside in such a place? It's beneath your stature. A visibly nouveau riche man, with a protruding belly, typically looked down upon others, yet he appeared somewhat obsequious in front of Bai Shi. I have a vacant villa halfway up the mountain. It would befit your status. Would you do me the honor? No need, Bai Shi declined politely, exuding an air of profound mystery, his tone indifferent. A practitioner should live simply. There's no need for extravagance, Mr. Wang. I have already received my remuneration. Mr. Wang immediately praised him to his secretary. See, this is the true master. Unlike those frauds I hired before, who were more adept at revelry and vice than I am. Look at Master Bai's demeanor. I shouldered my bag and met their gaze. Bai Shi greeted me naturally. Finished with school? Mr. Wang glanced back and forth between me and Bai Shi. Oh, and who might this be? I felt an aversion to wealthy individuals. However, on account of Master Bai, I was about to extend my courtesy when Bai Shi cheerfully interjected, my younger sister, she's a bit timid, so don't frighten her. I raised an eyebrow slightly, looking at Bai Shi, who quickly averted his gaze, scratching his head awkwardly. Mr. Wang's eyes twinkled as he kindly pressed a warm check into my hand, evidently having failed to give it to Bai Shi. Such a lovely young lady. Use this to buy some clothes and jewelry. A miraculous healer. My aversion to wealthy individuals vanished in an instant, and I finally allowed a smile to grace my face. After Mr. Wang departed, I playfully elongated my tone. Brother Bai Shi. The young man shivered, a faint blush creeping onto his face. I called him again in a tone reminiscent of a delicate flower, satisfied to see him tremble once more. Bai Shi quickly bowed and pleaded, my dear, I was wrong. I was wrong. What? Don't your younger siblings call you that? Bai Shi replied, well, they either call me little brother Bai or brother Shi. Those slightly older would address him directly by name, lacking any semblance of respect. Perhaps it was due to his unusually good-natured disposition and carefree attitude. I regarded him thoughtfully, giving a soft "oh." Little Bai. Quite endearing. I raised the check. Then why didn't Master Bai stop me from accepting it? Bai Shi shrugged nonchalantly. I can only take what is rightfully mine. Anything beyond that would create an unjust connection. Just because I cannot accept it doesn't mean you cannot. He flashed me a mischievous smile, devoid of the earlier ethereal demeanor. If it's given to you, it counts as a gift. As the young man's gaze swept over the stains on my school uniform, his cheerful tone faltered. He then casually draped his arm over my shoulder. My body stiffened. Bai Shi, seemingly oblivious to the difference between genders, casually led me outside, brandishing his mobile banking app, showcasing a long string of numbers. Do you believe me now? This should cover your tuition and living expenses. You won't need to work anymore. He then cast a discreet glance at my school uniform, suggesting nonchalantly, now that we have money, if you're unhappy with your current school, we can change to another. I turned my head to look at him. Bai Shi seemed a bit anxious. The gentle glow of the setting sun caressed the young man's snow-white brows and eyes. A delightful itch stirred within me, as if something warm unfurled in my chest, flowing through my limbs. I composed myself, recalling the protection fees I had collected from the affluent gentlemen and ladies earlier that day. Each one was both wicked and foolish, yet wealthy. This place was indeed a treasure trove. It would be impossible to feel this justified elsewhere, profiting while ridding the world of its evils. No need to change. This place is quite nice. Upon hearing my words, Bai Shi ceased to press the issue, for the system was intervening. System. Brother Shi, you violated protocol earlier. You cannot lead the female protagonist away from key plot points. Bai Shi, did you not see her being bullied? System. That's precisely the scenario requiring the male lead to save the damsel in distress. How else would the romantic subplot develop? Bai Shi, you allowed a young girl to wear a dirty school uniform all day. You systems and the male lead are utterly useless. Truly disappointing. Bai Shi and the system engaged in a fervent debate for a while, quickening our pace. Let us go buy some things. I should get you a few new clothes. Your wardrobe is far too sparse. I declined, explaining that the few pieces I owned were purchased out of desperation, imitating Su Wanwan's style, and I had worn them in front of Gu Jian for an entire year. Whenever he found my attire unsatisfactory, he would gift me clothing, the cheapest of which was still from a luxury brand. I had sold them through various means, and when Gu Jian inquired, I claimed I had lost them, continuing to flaunt my inexpensive clothing before him. Now, with no need to curry favor with young Master Gu, I had no intention of spending money on clothes. Every penny saved counted. Upon hearing this, Bai Shi nodded. Oh, then could you help me look for clothes? I only have this outfit and I can't change. His request was difficult to refuse, and I had no desire to do so. Pretending to be a sunny flower in front of Gu Jian felt disingenuous. The Gu family as steward privately praised me for my tact, expressing warmth without prying into matters, never overstepping boundaries. However, I must confess that I possess little interest in Gu Jian's personal affairs. I find myself too indifferent to inquire further. Yet, I am quite captivated by Bai Shi's matters. On our journey, I inquired how he managed to command the obedience of that boss Wang. As I anticipated, Bai Shi indeed has a slightly boastful disposition, recounting tales that, while not particularly dramatic, were rather verbose. It appears that affluent business owners, the wealthier they become, the more they believe in the significance of feng shui, especially when domestic issues arise. What followed was akin to a narrative from a novel, featuring an elusive master striking back with stunning prowess, leaving onlookers in awe, kneeling and beseeching for salvation. Resting my chin on my hand, I observed the exuberant individual, whose tale seemed ready to soar heavenward, with considerable interest. His expression was more vibrant and animated than the tale itself, with a hint of pride evident in his slightly elevated chin and a lock of hair swaying gently above his head. Such a lively character. I found the discourse entertaining and timely offered my input, as this little fellow could continue his cheerful soliloquy indefinitely. This was my first experience venturing out with someone, filled with laughter and conversation, a bit reminiscent of a date. Then, I hung up on the call from the Gu family's driver. Upon disembarking, I was taken aback by our destination. One cannot be so extravagant merely because of wealth. Bai Shi had precisely chosen the most bustling commercial district of City A, where every inch is precious and prices soar. Before I could voice my objections, he had already pulled me inside. I have no discerning taste. Please help me choose,
he remarked.
I replied. The story dragged me into scenes devoid of anything you could wear. A cursory glance confirmed this. The entire floor was devoted to women's clothing. Bai Shi, unfazed by the potential embarrassment, boldly stated, "As long as you can wear it, let us get you changed first." I surmised he must have searched for the shopping paradise adored by girls, having yet to realize the misalignment upon seeing the opulent and beautifully adorned storefronts. As we entered, we were enveloped by the energetic beats of Blackpink and a dazzling array of exquisite garments, as if our souls were undergoing a cleansing. Young, fashionable girls flitted about like vibrant butterflies amidst a garden of colors. Bai Shi was visibly taken aback. This straight fellow had clearly never encountered such a scene. He instinctively stepped back, wanting to retreat, but upon catching sight of me, he hesitated. Bai Shi appeared slightly flustered, nervously inquiring which section of clothing I preferred, or if there were styles I disliked. It was rare to see someone so adept become awkwardly flustered, and I relished the sight. Thus, I intentionally replied, "I have no dislikes. Everything is fine." I genuinely had no particular preferences regarding clothing. I overheard Bai Shi murmuring encouragement to himself. It's all right. There's nothing unattractive here." Despite claiming a lack of taste, he promptly snatched the white dress from my hands, offering me a more appealing outfit in return. The comments began to pour in. "Sister Wei, that set of suspenders and work pants is incredibly stylish."
Bai Shi possède impecantast.
"I adore that asymmetrical shoulder shorts ensemble." "Wow, Sister Wei has such a stunning figure. Those previous outfits were utterly hideous." The gray suspender dress with white lace has a lovely ballet vibe. Bai Shi is truly playing the role of a fashion miracle worker. Does no one notice how Bai Shi's eyes light up every time Sister Wei emerges from the fitting room? It's glaringly obvious that he is utterly captivated. I can't stand it. Why does Sister Wei exude such an aura of sophistication? What a perfect pairing of the aloof yet charming goddess and the carefree, sunny Taoist. Finally, the barrage of comments began to align with my preferences, lifting my spirits considerably. However, as I drew back the curtain, my expression instantly cooled. There was but one issue. Bai Shi stood out too starkly amidst the throng of glamorous urban women. Handsome men were a rarity. He stood there, a striking figure among the masses, exuding a grace reminiscent of a carefree spirit wandering amidst the clouds, as plain and gentle as warm water. A seemingly endless stream of young women approached, requesting his WeChat. How bothersome. If only I could conceal him. Yet, I witnessed Bai Shi gesturing in my direction, his eyes twinkling with amusement. "I'm sorry, my girlfriend is in that fitting room over there." His voice was low, but I caught every word.
Bai Shi,
unaware of my presence, had nonetheless made his declaration. "Oh, look at that. A girlfriend. How sweet for this young couple. Report to Sister Wei. This fellow has indicated you as his girlfriend since the first request for WeChat." Wait, did Sister Wei just smile? My ship is sailing for real. I raised an eyebrow, silently appearing behind Bai Shi. Girlfriend? The pale skin on the back of his neck flushed a lovely shade of pink. Bai Shi spun around abruptly, immediately averting his gaze from mine, attempting nonchalance. "I just used you as a shield against all the WeChat requests." After a brief glance at me, he awkwardly added, "Next time you encounter such a situation, feel free to use me as a human shield." I smiled slightly. "All right, little Bai." I certainly intended to reciprocate. Bai Shi paid for all the lovely garments I tried on at the checkout, racking up a 5-figure total. The store offered same-city express delivery, and while he filled out the address, I was astonished to tell him he didn't need to purchase so much. Bai Shi winked at me, cheerfully adding, "These aren't luxury brands. They're priced the same as second-hand goods. You'll have to wear them all by yourself." How infuriating. He had thwarted my plans to sell them on Xinyu. This frugal man truly understood the plight of fellow thrifty souls. I assumed our next stop would be the men's section, but he led us straight down to the first floor. This time, we were amidst those thunderous English brands. I attempted to pull Bai Shi away, but he tugged me inside instead. "I don't need any cosmetics." "Not cosmetics. Please assist her with matching skincare products." The sales associate meticulously assessed my skin type and, based on my age, compiled a set of exorbitantly priced bottles and jars. Bai Shi stood by, unbothered by the hassle. "I say, Xiao Wei, at least us boys have facial cleansers. You genuinely have nothing at all." His thoroughness revealed he knew everything about my essentials. "ISNT their Johnson's baby lotion?" I retorted. Bai Shi replied, Where we come from. That S for children. Even my two sisters who don't care for appearances, at least have basic skincare under our mother-S insistence. He casually glanced at the staggering price tags, and I questioned the necessity of such lavish expenditures.
Bài suit.
I'm no expert. It's presumed that the pricier, the better. Then why, when you shop, do you frequent Watsons?
Bài justify.
Girls should be well taken care of. As a man, I need only the essentials. I can't take it anymore. How can I fall for someone like this? With Baishi around, who needs a male lead? Wow, so many viewers are tuning in, all here to watch this young couple shopping. I can't handle it. Baishi exudes such a strong husband vibe. This segment feels like an old couple shopping together, earnestly discussing what else the home needs. Gentlemen keep their distance from the kitchen, yet modern youth seem to have distanced themselves from it too. Baishi, however, was a different breed. I assumed he merely needed oil and vinegar, yet he meticulously selected each brand of soy sauce and cooking wine. He even picked out an optimal spatula. And when we reached the household goods section, he produced a pre-prepared list. Leaning against a nearby shelf, I impatiently hung up on yet another incoming call. While shopping, the driver had called multiple times, and the remainder were from Gujian. I had long set my phone to silent, and now I resolved to shut it off entirely. Raising my gaze, I spotted Baishi in his white attire and instinctively softened my tone. How come you seem so experienced?
Bài.
Engrossed in comparing fabric compositions for bed linens, did not lift his head. I often accompany Uncle Lee and Aunt Zhang on their shopping trips, she said. The Welfare Institute has a large population and substantial consumption. I have garnered some experience in purchasing quality items within a limited budget. I inquired, how is life there? Baishi's expression turned nostalgic as she smiled gently. It's quite good. As we exited the shopping mall, the vibrant lights dimmed beneath the night sky, leading us to a bustling night market filled with culinary delights. We paused in front of a stall selling grilled cold noodles, exchanging a glance. The summer night breeze was cool, and the conversation shifted to her upbringing. Baishi had initially grown up in a mountain temple, orphaned and alone. Her masters imparted various teachings, and it seemed she possessed an innate understanding of the craft, absorbing knowledge merely by listening. As she matured, she was formally accepted as a disciple by her master. When I was 10, I followed my masters down the mountain for training. Being a child, I was drawn to the excitement and got separated from them, she recounted. I ended up fortune-telling and was taken in by the director of the Spring Welfare Institute, affectionately known as Mama Chun. After a few days, my master came to retrieve me. He calculated my fate and provided funds for my education, insisting that I should not become estranged from society. For me, it was simply a transition from the mountains to the valley, and Mama Chun was far better at caring for children than my unreliable masters. I grew to prefer the Spring Welfare Institute. It was my turn to share my story, but I hesitated. My childhood was even more dismal than that of an orphan. Speaking of it would only elicit discomfort from those who had known a blissful upbringing, and I could effortlessly evoke tears from my audience without embellishment. The gentle breeze of the night made me reluctant to delve into those dark memories. So, I persisted in questioning her. Do you return to the temple often? I visit every year, mostly during the summer as it's cooler in the mountains. Every summer, several little ones accompany me back to the temple, where they're trained in Tai Chi by my masters. Listening to her, I felt a pang of envy and couldn't help but interject, I want to go too. Baishi turned to me, her eyes shimmering like rippling waters. With a smile that melted the chill of spring, she promised, next time, I will definitely take you. In the busy streets under the orange glow of the streetlights, a guitarist played a tune that resonated with the lyrics. I do not love the mundane world, only your enchanting gaze. In that intimate melody, I could hear the pounding of my own heartbeat, loud and clear. Upon returning to our rented apartment, Baishi had already taken the initiative to organize the new purchases. As I prepared for my evening routine, I noticed the jars and bottles had already been unpacked neatly. Baishi was in the process of washing the newly acquired bedding and clothes when I casually glanced up while searching for a towel. The balcony was illuminated by a bright bulb, and I saw the young man engrossed in scrubbing the stained school uniform. Behind him loomed an engulfing darkness. As a child, I had feared the night, which brought not only darkness, but also the sound of my father's liquor bottles. Growing up alone, I found little solace in the night. which was filled with the flicker of distant lights and the aroma of food wafting through the window. Later, during my time with Gu Jian, the nights in Gu's residence were suffocatingly silent, heavy enough to break the spine of the most destitute. Yet now the young man clad in white, standing there, exuded an unexpected sense of stability and comfort. The online comments continued to praise Bai Shi, while I simply watched him. This was the 24th hour since I had encountered Bai Shi. The comments assumed he was my savior, yet I alone understood that he was a visitor from another realm, a misguided pursuer of the wrong heroine. Even this day felt like a stolen moment. Just then, my phone buzzed to life, revealing a call from Gu Jian, as if it were persistently trying to rouse me from a dream. I hung up without hesitation. The response to rejecting a call differed from powering off the phone. Moments later, a message notification appeared. Gu Jian, have you moved out? Transfer, 100,000 yuan. Gu Jian, where are you? Transfer. I opened WeChat to find a dozen missed calls. I then navigated to settings and logged out. I no longer required the money. Thus, I had no need to deal with the male lead, Gu Jian. Previously, the comments had labeled me as calculating and manipulative. Now, the tone had shifted. Ha ha ha. Is the male lead still calling? The supporting character has run away. Your wife doesn't want you anymore. To the fan above. Do not drag my Wei Jia and Master Bai into your disputes. Warning issued. I have already checked into the Weibo super topic countering by Wei Sheng. Come join me. During my shower, I unexpectedly got my period, a shocking turn of events, and I realized I had no sanitary pads. I called out to Bai Shi through the door. He promptly arrived. There should be some at the supermarket downstairs. Don't bother with delivery, I'll go buy them. I heard the jingle of keys as he left. Bai Shi returned swiftly, hanging a plastic bag on the bathroom doorknob. He called out that he would enter his room, then closed the door behind him. I brought the bag inside. It was filled with every necessity, both day and night supplies, even in a transparent plastic bag. He had carried it all back. When I emerged after changing, Bai Shi had made a cup of brown sugar water and handed me a pack of heating pads. Here, drink this and get some rest. It was just a little something I picked up, he said. I took it, a teasing smile on my lips as I gazed at him. You seem quite proficient. How many girlfriends have you had? Bai Shi scratched his head. I've never had one. Yet, he was incredibly attentive, particularly regarding feminine hygiene products, which many men tend to shy away from as if they were tainted. Bai Shi looked puzzled. Is there really a fundamental difference between sanitary pads and toilet paper? Aren't they both everyday consumables? Sanitary pads were on the shopping list. You should know that the number of day and night supplies differs. The daytime ones need to be double. Brown sugar water? We supply it every day. Some find it quite soothing. Heating pads are a common staple. I inhaled deeply, sincerely expressing, I truly wish to visit your place. Bai Shi replied with enthusiasm. It's quite lively there. You can definitely come to play. We often lack volunteers. Not volunteers. Just let me do the work while you enjoy a few days of being cared for. I chuckled and agreed. However, as I turned away, my smile slowly faded. How could I possibly visit the place where you grew up, separated by two worlds? The next day, Saturday, during breakfast, Bai Shi received a phone call regarding feng shui matters. He confirmed the address, and as I sipped my soup, I suddenly froze, mouthing, "Put it on speaker." Bai Shi hesitated, then activated the speakerphone. It was indeed the voice of Gu's family butler. After hanging up, Bai Shi looked at me, his expression torn, seemingly unsure how to broach the subject. The current situation was that I was aware they were pursuing a strategy, while they knew the plot but were oblivious to my knowledge. System. Oh, Mo Shi, the male lead Gu Jian has come knocking. My auto order did not match with the Gu family. There's a 50-50 chance that there's a genuine feng shui issue at the Gu residence. And the other half is that he has come to confront you since you've effectively taken the heroine away. I was in a separate dimension. The system and comments did not communicate with one another, and both the system and Bai Shi were unaware of my role as the supporting character. Bai Shi, a banquet of intrigue. Gu Jian was indeed peculiar. His family's feng shui was quite good. What could have gone wrong that led him to Bai Shi so quickly? Moreover, this young master had an unpredictable temperament. I chose not to respond to his messages or calls, yet he had directly contacted Bai Shi. My mind raced as I anxiously dissected Gu Jian's underlying motives. Bai Shi called out to me twice. Little Wei, are you alright? Do you know the person on the other end of the line? I steadied myself, opting to reveal part of the truth. Remove the elements of visible bullet comments and the deliberate approach to Gu Jian. The public version will simply depict a chance encounter through a game of chess, where I have visited Gu's residence a few times to play chess with Gu Jian. Bai Shi nodded thoughtfully and suddenly asked, "Are you too close?" Bai Shi's expression bore a hint of tension. I smiled faintly. "We've only played a few games, so we're not very familiar." Bai Shi's phone rang again. "Master Bai, our car has arrived downstairs." Both Bai Shi and I exchanged glances, our expressions shifting simultaneously. We climbed into the Gu family's car together. The driver in the front greeted me, "Miss Wei, nice to see you again." It was evident that he was brimming with curiosity, eager to ask something, yet constrained by the presence of the composed butler beside him. The butler turned to acknowledge me, furrowing his brow as he glanced at the disheveled environment outside the window. His words inadvertently hinted at the familiarity between Gu Jian and me. "Miss Wei, this place hardly befits your status. Wasn't the apartment the young master rented for you satisfactory?" I offered a slight smile, retorting succinctly, "I couldn't afford to renew the lease." The butler fell silent, then redirected his inquiries towards Bai Shi, subtly probing for information. I cast a sidelong glance at Bai Shi, who was engrossed in questioning about the events at Gu's residence. It seemed that no matter how influential Gu Jian might be, he could not uncover the specifics about this visitor from another world. The luxury car drove through the gates and halted before a private garden. Upon stepping out, Bai Shi couldn't help but exclaim, "Ah, a dragon vein. The feng shui here is quite prosperous." The butler respectfully stepped aside. "Master, you flatter me, but it is merely the legacy of our ancestors." As we strolled through the garden, with its ornate pavilions and winding paths, Bai Shi whispered tidbits of knowledge in my ear, identifying the stones worth hundreds of thousands and the trees valued in the millions. The comments on the bullet screen echoed similar sentiments, almost wishing to label the price of every flower. I remarked, "How do you know all this?" "I've visited several times and had no idea the bricks and stones beneath my feet were so costly." Bai Shi replied, "The more you visit, the more they showcase." Two impoverished souls exchanged knowing glances and simultaneously cursed. This is truly a money pit. The butler, glancing at the two of us whispering and laughing, frowned and quickened his pace. Deep within the garden, behind a thicket of bamboo and cypress, stood a cool, aloof youth. The emerald jade pendant on his chest glimmered with a captivating glow, while his dark attire shimmered like flowing water, exuding an indescribable air of nobility. He gazed towards us from a distance. At that moment, I had my arm around Bai Shi, sharing whispers. Gu Zian's expression suddenly darkened. As we approached, I noticed a girl standing beside him, a genuine embodiment of the delicate, innocent heroine, Su Wanwan, with her straight bangs and white dress. I was aware of her presence, which was precisely why I insisted on accompanying Bai Shi. I lowered my gaze, concealing the dark, unmentionable thoughts within. Su Wanwan bounded down the steps, cheerfully taking my hand. "Wei Liang, I waited for you on my birthday. Why didn't you come? Did something happen?" Wanwan is so adorable. Even though the supporting character grew up together with her, she isn't angry at all and is so concerned about her. The system, unable to see the bullet comments, directly interjected, "The supporting character is truly strong." Undoubtedly, she was the quintessential innocent heroine, radiating warmth and charm far beyond my forced demeanor. Growing up in the same impoverished neighborhood, I had been sullen and violent, while Su Wanwan was bright and lively, drawing far more affection than I ever did. However, I no longer sought to win over Gu Jian. Thus, I dropped the act and retorted coldly, "A person of my humble means cannot enter the hotel, and besides, you never invited me."
Su Wanwan's smile faltered.
Just as she was about to respond, another voice interrupted from behind. "Liang." Gu Jian descended the steps, his raven-black eyes casting a chilling glance over me. Before leaving, the bullet comments had provided me with unsolicited advice. "Sister Wei, your allure pales in comparison to cuteness. Discard your bangs and white dress, and wear that off-shoulder, short jumpsuit from yesterday." Add 1. I'd love to see her in that. She can't actually see the comments, can she? I had indeed paid heed to the comments. Although they were eccentric, their tastes surpassed mine.
"Oh.
Look at my wife. That red slip is so alluring." Regrettably, as I was about to leave, Bai Shi noticed my eyelids fluttering. He expressed concern about the morning chill, worried I might catch a cold, and promptly draped his white short-sleeved shirt over me. Now, it fit perfectly as an oversized cardigan. Gu Xian's gaze fixated on the shirt, his expression subtly shifting. He then walked past Su Wanwan, stopping directly in front of me. Why didn't you answer my calls? His tone was surprisingly calm. Liang, didn't you see the messages I sent you? Bai Shi's eyes darted towards us. I couldn't be bothered with pretense and casually fabricated a response. I ran out of phone credit. A hush fell over the courtyard. Gu Xian let out a laugh from deep within, staring at me intently for a long moment. Bai Shi instinctively positioned himself in front of me. Only then did Gu Xian seem to notice Bai Shi. His tone took on an unusual quality. You are Master Bai Shi? His gaze was akin to that of a child discovering a new toy. Bai Shi frowned slightly and got straight to the point. Young Master Gu, if there are any supernatural disturbances at home, please lead me to inspect.
Gu Xian replied, Zhaobo.
The butler nodded at us and gestured for us to follow. Master,
Please come this way.
I had taken only a few steps when I was halted. I cast a cold glance at the butler, tightening my grip on Bai Shi's arm. Reiterating firmly, we are together. The butler hesitated, glancing awkwardly behind us. Gu Xian casually twirled a sandalwood bead bracelet, his jet-black pupils scrutinizing us. You too? Bai Shi was about to speak when I interjected, yes, us. I met his gaze resolutely, enunciating clearly, young Master Gu, Bai Shi is my boyfriend. Seizing the opportunity, I pulled the person beside me even closer. I was so delighted that I couldn't help but laugh. Gu Xian's fingers paused in their twirling motion. Oh my, this is my boyfriend. Are you satisfied now, Sister Wei? A love triangle is about to unfold. I'm dying of laughter. The expressions of these four are simply priceless. He looks at her, she looks at him, and he looks at her, each lost in their own thoughts. Haha. Bai Shi is so stiff he can barely move. Haha. Our pure little white flower. They've both acknowledged their relationship. How can they not be considered together? Bai Shi stiffened, and I naturally took the chance to lean closer. My lips nearly brushed against his fair jawline, my voice barely above a whisper. You said it. So block it.
Bai Shi.
The young man's fingers clenched tightly, his voice trembling. I can. System. Bai Shi? You seem to have a fever. The faces of both Bai Shi and Gu Xian turned contrasting shades, one pale, one flushed. Gu Xian's voice was icy. Boyfriend? The youth's tone was unnervingly calm. Liang, isn't this considered early romance? Where do you get the audacity to comment on mine? I shrugged, playing the rogue.
Indeed.
So why not report it to the teacher? Gu Xian. Report to the teacher? Haha, what elementary school behavior. I adore Sister Wei, our little toxic flower. The butler, having honed his craft in the Gu household, noticed the young master's displeasure and stepped forward to mediate. Miss Wei, it seems I overheard that you are not feeling well. We are heading to the ancestral hall, and it is a rule that women experiencing their monthly cycle are not permitted to enter. I regret to inform you that entry is not allowed. Just a moment. Bai Shi interjected, her expression one of shock, as if she were witnessing a remnant of an archaic Qing dynasty. Is it possible that such a grand estate as yours could be vanquished by something as trivial as menstrual blood? The butler's countenance shifted dramatically. Master Bai, how can you speak of such filth? Bai Shi retorted, what is filthy about it? I just consulted DeepSeek, which encourages you to join the menstruation destigmatization movement. At 60, one is in the prime of their life. The crowd erupted with laughter, and Bai Shi's wit was not lost on them. The butler, despite his years of experience, attempted to salvage his dignity. Master Bai, the rules are clear. Women on their period are not allowed to offer incense in the temple, especially in the esteemed Gu family ancestral hall. Bai Shi clicked her tongue, her tone laced with skepticism. Who told you such nonsense? No temple or Taoist shrine with a thriving incense trade has such a rule. Surely, the place you are visiting is legitimate, isn't it? Even the most dilapidated temple does not shun menstruation, and with your family's abundant dragon energy, what is there to fear? Before she could finish, the comments section erupted in a frenzy. Master, this is the true master. Which places dare to declare menstrual blood as unclean? Bai is truly well-versed. This man is simply too righteous. Has anyone noticed Bai Shi has entered battle mode? Boss Wang is far more superstitious than the butler. Bai Shi is simply enlightening them without being overly aggressive. All right, you lad, the moment you stepped into the enemy's abode, you seem to have forgotten about earning money. Indeed, the master is quite an expert, Gu Jian remarked nonchalantly, a smile gracing his lips. The older generation tends to cling to superstitions, but it's better to believe in the possibility of malevolent spirits. Let us have Aoyang stay with me for a while.
No.
I don't feel there is anything to reminisce about.
Aoyang.
The young man interrupted me with a grin. Just a couple of days ago, my uncle and aunt visited me. The subsequent revelation sent chills down my spine. They appear to be looking for you. In an instant, I felt as if my blood had frozen. My arms fell limply at my sides. I heard myself say, Xiao Bai, you should go ahead. Bai Si, Bui, was led away by the butler. Gu Jian smiled faintly, casting a fleeting glance at Su Wanwan. Su Wanwan immediately brightened, approaching Bai Shi with a radiant smile. Master Bai, I witnessed the events at the ancestral hall last night. I'd like to join you. It would be a splendid opportunity to learn. You are only a few years older than me, and yet you wield such prowess? My previously sullen expression darkened even further. Before Bai Shi could respond, I yanked Su Wanwan towards me. The girl let out an exaggerated scream, as if in great pain. Su Wanwan is being a bit too dramatic, isn't she? Big guts. Daring to steal my sister Wei's man. Oh dear, Xiao Bai, don't make a misunderstanding by defending Su Wanwan. Our sister Wei hasn't even touched her. If I pulled too hard, would Su Wanwan's arm still be intact? In truth, Su Wanwan was not feigning. I had indeed yanked her deliberately. I ground my teeth, leaning in closely to whisper maliciously in her ear. Su Wanwan, are you still pretending in front of Bai Shi? I can break the ribs of the bully at the end of your street. Do you think I can't break yours? The courtyard fell into a profound silence. All eyes were fixed on me, astonished and incredulous. Even the maids sweeping the floor paused, wide-eyed, as if they had heard something extraordinary. The system screamed, What the heck? The comment section exploded. I'm going straight for it. Sister Wei, the male lead Gu Jian is still here. How can you be so bold? I love this dark twist. Su Wanwan's face turned pale. I tightened my grip on her arm slightly. With a shriek, Su Wanwan's face blanched, and she immediately cast a pleading glance at Gu Jian and Bai Shi.
Who are you looking at?
I warn you, he is mine. Stay at least 2 meters away from him. You are not to touch Xiao Bai, understood? Su Wanwan looked at me, wide-eyed with fear, nodding vigorously. Bai Shi staggered slightly, turning away from everyone. System. Shiga, you're blushing. Bai Shi immediately covered his face, silently screaming, I'm just hot. The butler and the maids exchanged glances at Gu Jian. The young man stood silently at the center, his dark eyes deep and enigmatic, like a specter. The lush greenery nearby cast shadows that obscured half his face, yet the smile remained on his lips. In the garden, incense burned everywhere, with the chess room imbued with the richest fragrance. Every inch of the Hainan yellow rosewood was permeated with this aroma. I surmised that Gu Jian's birth chart favored water and wood. The atmosphere indoors grew somewhat stagnant, devoid of the warmth brought by 2 little suns. With Bai Shi gone, I felt no need to maintain my final facade. I reclined casually, resting my arm on the armrest, coldly regarding Gu Jian. My tongue rolled over a subtle malice and wariness. Young Master Gu, what do you mean by this? 666, Sister Wei is no longer playing along. Is this a standoff? Welcome to the showdown between the noble scion at the pyramid's peak and the local ruffian from the slums. Sister Wei, had you acted like this earlier, the little brother would never have dared to insult you. You're not the malicious female antagonist. You're clearly the male lead facing the great villain. Gu Jian, however, showed no signs of anger. Rather, his dark eyes gleamed with amusement. So this is your true self? The young man lowered his gaze, a faint smile playing on his lips. How intriguing. I rolled my eyes and asked, So that pair of parents found you, did they? Gu Jian drummed his fingers on the chessboard, lazily lifting his gaze. How surprising. Such lowly insects managed to raise someone like you. I remained unperturbed. Did they come asking for money? You seem quite familiar with them. In just 2 months of knowing me, your estranged parents, like pests, have come crawling back. At that moment, I genuinely believed you were in cahoots. However, since they've come to my door, they are guests. Uncle Zhao personally entertained them and sent them off with money several times. I couldn't help but frown. You actually gave them money? You should have had them thrown out. I thought you would be grateful. Otherwise, they would have found you long ago. Gu Jian's eyes sparkled with interest. Though they are bothersome, you are quite fascinating. To have driven them off with a single blow would have been rather dull. Wouldn't it? Or do you wish to resolve this once and for all? Otherwise, they might take you to court later. And you would still have to provide the minimum support for those blood-sucking leeches. My brows furrowed. What are your terms? A game of chess? If you win, you can have whatever you desire. And if I lose? Gu Jian leaned back thoughtfully, suddenly raising a finger. Then you must surrender this to me. My expression shifted, and I stood up, devoid of any emotion. Those 2 lives are hardly worth my own. Gu Jian nodded. Then let us raise the stakes. The principle remains the same. His fingers deftly adjusted. I followed his gesture, my gaze landing on the imperial green jade adorning his chest. I had previously inquired about its market value, and even 8 figures would scarcely suffice. It was at least a modest target. I instantly leaned back. 2 gamblers. Gu Jian pressed a button at the side, and the black jade chess box slowly ascended before me. In this round, my oversight has cost me. Thus, you shall take the first move.
Please. Soon.
Bai Shi and the others arrived in less than half an hour. The segment at the ancestral hall was thrilling. The supernatural was indeed a mere fabrication. Master Bai is quite the professional, extracting the butler's confessions with just a few probing words. Little Bai initially thought it was a ruse, but upon realizing it was a false alarm, he hurried over, fearing for Sister Wei's safety. Over a dozen bodyguards couldn't catch up. Ha! Gu Jian addressed the outside. Let them in. As Bai Shi pushed the door open, he was met with this scene. Shadows of trees dancing in the breeze. A spacious and desolate 3-story, luxurious Chinese residence. At the center, the chess table hosted 2 individuals, their expressions as tranquil as still water. Yet, the chessboard bore witness to a fierce contest, the intent to kill palpable. The comments flooded in, praising me mindlessly. However, the true familiarity I held with Gu Jian tightened my brow. He was letting me win. Upon hearing a sound and lifting my gaze, I caught sight of Bai Shi. Momentarily frozen, about to smile at me as his companion, Su Wanwan, collided with him from behind, unable to halt her momentum. My fingers, gripping the black jade, stiffened. Bai Shi, startled, instinctively took a step back. Su Wanwan covered her head, squatting down in tears, while Bai Shi rushed to assist her. Are you all right? Su Wanwan grasped his hand, assuring him she was fine as she stood up. Snap. Oh no. Sister Wei just crushed the chess piece in her hand. Bai Shi, Denza. Su Wanwan, Danjer. The entire room was startled by the commotion from my hand. Bai Shi abruptly released Su Wanwan's hand.
Su Wanwan.
Now dazed, quickly hid behind a bodyguard in terror. Gu Jian's pupils quivered, and I offered him a polite smile. I apologize, I shall compensate. I then nonchalantly replaced the piece. Moments later, Bai Shi stealthily approached from behind, peering over my shoulder at the chessboard. I remained unfazed, until the final piece sealed off all retreat routes for the white pieces. Gu Jian resumed his smile. I concede. I will address the matters concerning your parents. Then, regarding our wager, you have won, and you shall receive it now.
That.
Gu Jian followed my finger, glancing down at the imperial green hanging around his neck. He looked at me in surprise, chuckling lightly. This? I meant. I interrupted. No, let it go. Let's consider the chess piece I inadvertently broke as the wager. Of course. With a swift motion, the young man deftly unfastened the imperial green he had always worn. The butler's eyes widened in alarm, attempting to intervene. No, master. That is not acceptable. Allow me to fetch another jade piece. This was a birth gift from the matriarch, meant to be passed down.
Tojobo.
The butler fell silent. The comments, however, could not be silenced. Heavens, has the plot gone awry? In the original novel, Gu Jian never gave this jade to Su Wanwan. How is it now being given to Wei Liang? Gu Jian extended the necklace in his palm towards me. Then I shall gift it to you, Liang. In the future, use it to find me. I shall grant you any condition you desire. I accepted, without hesitation. Refusal is the prerogative of the heroine. I am the antagonist, and would seize it if not offered. The butler's gaze towards me had shifted. Miss Wei, today the young master has prepared your favorite dishes. Shall we move to the dining hall? Bai Shi looked at me, and I shook my head. Thus, he confidently spoke into the microphone, "No, we have matters to attend to." He then pulled me to leave. Behind us, Gu Jian's cold voice called us back, questioning, "What matters?" Bai Shi replied earnestly, "Thursday, we have some business at KFC." I nodded in agreement. Crazy Thursday. It certainly requires a visit. The wealthy guests momentarily failed to comprehend our conversation. The butler regarded me as if I were a fool. Once outside the Gu residence, the fool pinned Bai Shi against the wall. "What did you say to Su Wanwan?" "Oh my, has the hidden agenda been revealed? The supporting character is actually a Yandra?" "Bai Shi, you are in for it. She is the real deal. Had it not been for Gu Jian bringing up my birth parents, I would never have allowed Bai Shi and Su Wanwan to be alone together. If he and the system discover something amiss," Bai Shi hurriedly explained, "I hardly spoke to her. Uncle Zhao can attest." "Bai Shi, ohatdo." Is this the amusing part, being under the thumb of a wife? I released him. Yet suddenly the system spoke up. "Bai Shi, the progress of the heroine's redemption can now be monitored. It was just as you laid eyes on the male lead Gu Jian and the supporting character Su Wanwan. However, deciphering the data took some time. It's peculiar. Though, why is the task progress at 0? Bai Shi, hiss, could it be that Xiao Wei was just angry? Or perhaps not earning enough? I had been anxious for quite some time. Yet, Bai Shi remained utterly carefree, munching on fried chicken. I exhaled, thinking perhaps I could conceal the truth for a while longer. Yet, I absolutely must not allow them to interact with the heroine Su Wanwan again. "System, Bai Shi." The system's voice suddenly emerged, cautious in tone. I may have caused a problem. The backend just contacted the system responsible for this world." "Bai Shi, what is it now?" "Go find out. The system relies on strategists to resolve issues every day." System. "No, we found the wrong person." The system was on the verge of tears. I wondered why the progress was at 0. "We have misidentified the heroine. This supporting character is Wei Liang. The true heroine is Su Wanwan. Oh, woe is me."
"Bai Shi sợ chích anything mosen ha te tabali."
I felt a sudden ringing in my ears. It was as if my blood rushed backward, overwhelming me with a tide of fear. My hands and feet turned cold. As I regained some semblance of composure, the system had already explained everything to Bai Shi. Even how I had imitated Su Wanwan, how I had cunningly approached Gu Jian, attempting to usurp the heroine's place. It was all too swift. How could it be so fast? The day after the misunderstanding, I had yet to confess. Now Bai Shi was aware. He knew everything. He knew that I was a despicable, selfish, and ruthless thief. I felt the young man's gaze upon me, and in a futile attempt to mask my anxiety, I mechanically grasped a fry, shoving it into my mouth, chewing vacantly. What to do? What to do? What to do? In my 17 years of life, aside from poverty, I had never encountered a situation so beyond my control. I had faced ridicule, mockery, and violence. I had endured betrayals from family and friends, growing accustomed to being disliked. Yet, now I felt an overwhelming dread. The person before me uttered such words. "System. Oh no, Bai Shi, you wasted 2 days of your time. You ran around earning money for the supporting character, and it was all in vain. Oh, woe is me. However, there is some good news. It seems that the progress between Su Wanwan and Gu Jian is also at 0. Haha. Su Wanwan harbors quite a high regard for you. Having just met, your rapport is already surpassing that of her acquaintance with the male protagonist, Gu Jian, who she has known for nearly a month. How splendid! At last. There is some progress. Shigo, once you've dealt with the female antagonist, you should seek out the female lead. According to my analysis with the system here, the male protagonist, Gu Jian, is rather deranged. I wondered why one must redeem the female lead in a sweet romance, only to discover that the male protagonist is indeed a lunatic. The system continued its incessant chatter, while Bai Shi slowed his pace in gnawing on chicken wings. He seemed to be mulling something over, hesitating to speak. Finally, he drew a deep breath and opened his mouth.
"Don't say it. Don't say it."
"Xiao Wei," he said, his tone grave. "Why aren't you dipping it in ketchup?" I stared at him in astonishment. Bai Shi maintained his casual demeanor, tearing open a packet of ketchup and handing it to me. In my flustered attempt to grab a cup of cola, he pushed another cup towards me. "This one is at room temperature. You shouldn't drink the cold one right now." My mind was a chaotic whirl. With such weighty matters at hand, How could he still remember such trivialities? Anxiety gnawed at me while the system incessantly offered by she remedial suggestions. He, however, appeared utterly unperturbed, leisurely leading me down the street under the pretense of aiding digestion. The system was in a frenzy, while she strolled leisurely, even detouring into a fresh produce supermarket to restock, and stopping by landmark attractions for a quick look around. Upon our return, the system finally devised a plan.
吃夜
The quickest and most effective opportunity has arrived. Tomorrow, Gu Ziyan and Su Wanwan will be kidnapped at the cruise ship gala. As long as you rescue Su Wanwan, our task of redeeming the female lead will be considered complete. A rescue is indeed a form of redemption. She finally acknowledged it.
All right.
The system exhaled in relief. As I struggled to breathe, she was getting ready to leave, but this aspect of him was insufferable. Despite having planned his departure, he was still tidying up the items he had just purchased. Amidst folding clothes, restocking the fridge, and cleaning, he even brewed a cup of brown sugar water. As I stood there in a daze, my mobile banking app suddenly pinged with a large transfer notification. My hand trembled as I opened it, revealing a sum sufficient to ensure my financial security for the rest of my life. I gripped my phone tightly, summoning all my strength not to throw it away. Calmly, I asked, "What does this mean?" She, oblivious to the gravity of the situation, was busy browsing a food delivery app. "I need to step out tomorrow, and might not return for a while. If you need money, keep this for now." My eyes grew warm with unshed tears. She would not be coming back. He had given me all the money from Boss Wong and the Gu family, before everyone discarded me as a burden. They had all attempted to placate me with money. My mother, relatives, everyone. I excused myself, claiming to feel unwell, and retreated to my room. The visages of those people flashed before me. Disdain, loathing, fear. They twisted into grotesque monsters. In the previous moment, it was the fists of a drunken man that fell upon me, causing me to curl up in a corner. Witnessing a woman being beaten while serving him the meal she had prepared. Only after the kitchen lights were turned off did I muster the courage to rise, groping in the dark to stealthily chew on the cold, fried rice left in the pot. The next moment, it was a young man in a white t-shirt bustling about the kitchen, cheerfully bringing out breakfast and setting the chopsticks. The shadows of monsters loomed. She's a freak. Don't associate with her. Wei Liang's father borrowed money and hasn't he returned it? The family sent people to smash things and splattered red paint. Wei Liang beat up Hong Jia and her gangster boyfriend. It's truly frightening. Don't get involved with someone like that. I saw her working at the recycling station last time. How is she so destitute and not starting a fundraising campaign? In a blink, Bai Shi's voice returned. Bai Shi's face. As a child, I had been caught using my mother's fragrant balm, leading her to yank my hair and curse me for being unworthy of such luxuries. I had worn only the discarded clothes of my cousins. Then came Bai Shi, paying without batting an eye, casually remarking, "Miss, this is rather rough. I don't know much about skincare products, but surely the expensive ones must be good." I was on the verge of madness. My hands instinctively reached for my hair, only to find my face drenched in tears. How had I begun to cry? The barrage of comments surrounding me was equally bewildered. Is the female antagonist so moved? Suddenly, there was a knock at the door. I responded, and Bai Shi entered with food, startled to see me. "Does it hurt that much?" He hurried to fetch hot water and handed it to me along with ibuprofen. "Take your medicine first. I'll reheat the food in a bit." He even applied a hot pack to me before leaving. He couldn't leave. I couldn't let him go. That night, as Bai Shi turned in his sleep, his arm brushed against me. The metal cuffs instantly alerted him from his slumber. What the? He was startled by my presence at the foot of his bed. What shocked him further were the handcuffs on his wrist. Bai Shi pulled at them, finding them tightly fastened. I lowered my gaze and said, "Don't move. It will hurt."
Bai Si Edgar Lim.
"Where on earth did you get these?" "Wei Liang, what are you doing?" I insisted that the details were inconsequential. The barrage of comments was nearing madness, with the screen filled with inquiries about whether I was engaging in bondage play. System. What the heck? I just stepped away for a moment, and the female antagonist has gone insane. "Shiga, you're going to be slaughtered, I knew it." I softly countered, "No, I'm not insane. Nor will I harm him." Bai Shi's eyes widened in shock. The system erupted in a shrill outburst, directly stating, "Oh my gosh. You can hear me talking." The barrage fell silent. I gazed at everyone, calmly articulating what I could perceive. The comments exploded in confusion. I had no time to concern myself with the barrage or the system. I fixed my gaze on Baishi. I deceived you. I knew from the beginning that you mistook me for the female lead, but I am the antagonist. Baishi looked at me, bewildered, and stammered. It was my mistake. This ISN tier fault. What redeeming qualities does Su Wanwan possess? Why is no one coming to redeem me? Since you've already made a mistake, why not continue down that path? My hand trembled around my phone. I don't want your money. I flipped the phone around for him to see. I want you. Baishi was taken aback. I know you intend to rescue Su Wanwan, but you are not permitted to go. My vision began to blur. Baishi, you cannot do this. For the first 17 years of my life, I was never treated well, never cherished. I never realized how pitiable I was. I have wandered in darkness for 17 years. Either cease to appear altogether. What does your fleeting presence mean? A mere few days of kindness. I understand you are not intentionally being kind. It is simply your nature. Scalding tears streamed down my cheeks. Why must you be so kind? I would rather you be like them, mocking and looking down upon me, than I wouldn't feel this way. I wouldn't feel this unbearable ache. Ignoring Baishi's outstretched hand, I collapsed against him in anguish and desperation, clinging to him with futile pleas. Tears surged, completely blurring my vision, as painful memories and thoughts of him flashed through my mind, driving me to the brink of madness. You should treat me like they do. That way, I wouldn't even harbor hatred. I would prefer to hate you than feel this way. Love is more terrifying than hate. My face pressed against the young man's neck. My heated tears flowed in rivulets down his neck, gradually soaking his collar. You intend to just walk away? How am I supposed to endure a life without you? If one has witnessed the sun, how can they continue to endure the darkness? Whale Yang, please listen to me.
Baishi Edgar Lim in shock.
He was abruptly pushed by me, his body stiffening as he fell onto the bed, shock evident in his gaze as I approached. The chilling emerald jade pressed against his face. My voice was eerily calm. Baishi, if this sells, we will have a fortune. You should stay. You earned money before. Now it is my turn to support you.
Wow.
Ladies, let's put aside the trivial matters. I always thought they had swapped their scripts. Baishi was momentarily stunned, about to utter something when I silenced him. His mind erupted in chaos. Oh my, they kissed. I love a forceful advance. How can this not be fate? The barrage of comments surged with unprecedented fervor, creating a cacophony of confusion. Sister Wei, this binding is incorrect. Just handcuffs 1T suffice. Click the link for the binding tutorial. The system, however, was in a state of urgency. He cannot refuse. Rescuing the female lead is our mission. If we fail to complete the main task, the strategist will dissipate. What? I abruptly lifted my head, noticing that Baishi below was still in a daze. The focus of my ire had shifted. Then can't you change the mission of rescuing the female lead to rescuing me? If you save me, the task is accomplished. The system could only apologize. Private matter. The task is dictated by higher authorities. I cannot make such decisions. Moreover, given the current situation, the female lead might genuinely perish on the cruise ship. The male and female leads are the linchpins of this world. Their demise would spell disaster. So I interjected. As long as we save Su Wanwan and the others, that will suffice, correct? Baishi suddenly grasped the gravity of the situation and hurriedly attempted to stop me. No. Whale Yang. Then I'll go save them and attribute the credit to him. That should work, right? The system fell into contemplation. That seems feasible. I held down Baishi's other hand, my tone unwavering. I delayed your mission, forcing you to take the most perilous path for redemption. If you go, it would be tantamount to signing your death warrant. Baishi attempted to rise. No, Whale Yang, you absolutely cannot go. The orchestrators of this kidnapping are not mere thugs. They belong to an international crime syndicate. I pressed him back down. That's why you must not go. You are too weak and would surely perish there. You need not worry about me. Just consult the system and the barrage, and you'll discover that I, Wei Liang, am the greatest villain in this world. The barrage system surprisingly agreed. Indeed. What are you, a little girl, thinking? Wei Liang.
Baishi.
I gazed deeply into his eyes before swiftly covering his mouth and nose with a towel I had prepared long ago. Where did you get that anesthetic? Just sleep for a while, Baishi. I whispered to him. Sleep, and when you awaken, everything will be resolved. I just want to ask you one last thing. After you complete your mission, will you have time to accompany me? Bai Shi's eyes reddened. His sobs were muffled beneath the towel. Wei Liang. Don't do anything foolish. He collapsed. It was my fault. Had they not mistaken him for someone else, the mission to redeem the female lead, Su Wanwan, could have been completed days ago. There would have been no need for him to risk himself for others. The kidnappers would not heed superstitions. Sorcerers are fragile. But I am different. If I go, there remains a glimmer of hope. I released the handcuffs from the bedpost and stared at the unconscious figure on the bed for a long while.
System, send me the task.
Before boarding the ship, I contacted the police. The cruise was filled with dignitaries. We could not alert the kidnappers. Once the ship departed the port, its speed increased, and within an hour, we reached international waters. The wealthy patrons remained unconcerned, as they were not conducting any legitimate business aboard. This segment in the original text was quite thrilling. Gu Jian and Su Wanwan only narrowly escaped after the Gu family's ransom arrived. Wei Liang wasn't involved in this plot. The Gu family's bodyguards were all dead. Could she manage? Please provide something useful. Don't hinder Sister Wei's actions. Suddenly, gunshots and screams erupted from above. Within 20 minutes, every passenger aboard the ship was subdued. The system proved somewhat useful, allowing me to be mistakenly identified as one of the kidnappers. My disguise as a waiter raised no suspicion. In this lawless territory, armed to the teeth, surrounded by corpses and bloodstains, it felt as if I were walking a tightrope. Every sound sending waves of fear coursing through me, fearing detection. The system guided me into a secure control room.
Good.
I've accessed their internal system. Gu Jian and Su Wanwan are on the 7th floor, and many around them have already been killed. You must rescue them without alarming anyone else. Otherwise, similar items will become ineffective. Su Wanwan screamed for help, her hair being yanked as she was dragged toward the bed. Vian, save me. Gu Jian remained motionless. A knife pressed against his neck. I stepped over the bodies and landed a powerful blow to the base of the nearest kidnapper's skull. He collapsed, revealing Su Wanwan's terrified face. Before she could utter a word, the knife at Gu Jian's neck moved. The blade flew away. The man, clutching his severed hand, had not yet begun to howl when I seized him by the collar and slammed him hard against the wall. He quickly fell silent. I knew Sister Wei wouldn't let Bai Shi come. Truly, the great villain. Su Wanwan gasped for breath, crawling to my side as if she had been granted a second chance at life. I coldly locked the door, and Gu Jian's gaze remained fixated on me, sounding almost affectionate. Liang? Be quiet. I shot him a warning glare, tossing aside the waiter's attire. Change. System S sycophantic comment. Sister Wei's little brother worships you. I led the two useless leads, following the System S guidance through a hidden passage, carefully avoiding the kidnappers along the way. System. They have severed all network communications. But I shared real-time positioning with Interpol the moment we boarded. They will arrive in 40 minutes. Yet, within 10 minutes, the kidnappers realized Gu Jian was missing. I was dragging along two utterly defenseless leads when several kidnappers caught up with us in less than 5 minutes. You can run quite well, young Master Gu. The $500 million will be in your account within half an hour. We can let you go then. We were surrounded by 3 guns and 2 knives, and I had hidden a single gun on me. I had no proficiency with firearms. I couldn't confront them. I was no match. So I obediently raised my hands, surrendering. One of them yanked my hair, causing me to stumble. Oh, we have an extra person. $500 million won to suffice now. Don't touch her. Gu Jian suddenly shouted, You can demand any amount you want. The man grinned, his malicious gaze sweeping over my face. All right then. Suddenly, a powerful force surged forward, propelling me 10 meters away, right into the stairwell. I quickly ducked inside, glancing up to find that no one was paying me any mind. A figure in white swiftly engaged with the kidnappers. In just a few moves, he disarmed them, sending their weapons flying. Fluid and graceful, reminiscent of Tai Chi. In mere moments, both men and weapons were sent crashing through the glass, plummeting into the sea.
Bai Shi.
The barrage erupted in disbelief. What the heck? Bai Shi ceased his actions and turned toward me, his expression suddenly sharp. His sixth sense instinctively warned him of danger, and I spun around, driving my elbow hard into the figure behind me. A massive hand gripped my arm with immense strength. It was a nearly 2-meter-tall foreigner, his body rippling with muscle, exuding a heavy aura of menace, akin to a mercenary. The scarred man seized my neck as if he were lifting a chick, hoisting me into the air. Suddenly, a fierce gust of wind swirled behind me. The young man swiftly propelled himself off the ground, leaping onto the wall. In midair, he brought down his long knife with a powerful slash. The grip around my neck loosened abruptly. A coarse cry of anguish echoed as I was pulled into someone's embrace and retreated. It felt as though I floated for a moment. Once on the ground, Baishi vigilantly drew me behind him. The scarred man spat blood, cursing furiously, and pulled out a terrifying submachine gun, more fearsome than those wielded by the kidnappers.
Baishi just me asai.
Another gun? Do you truly believe I would fall into the same pit twice? The young man swiftly pressed his fingers together, executing a rapid incantation, and a yellow talisman inscribed with blood characters suddenly adhered to his blade. Your father's truth is of no use this time. In the face of urgency, he leaped into the air without even using the wall for leverage, bringing his knife down in a horizontal strike. The gun was shattered in an instant. It sliced through steel as if it were mere clay. Baishi's attack was fierce, the tip of his blade grazing the scarred man's wrist. The man trembled as if the tendons in his hand had been severed, fear evident in his wide eyes. Then, with a swift movement, the young man pulled him in, sending him tumbling down the stairs and crashing through the glass into the sea. We three stood in stunned silence as he dealt with the remaining loose ends. He showed mercy, sparing them from death, yet ensured they were thrown into the sea to eliminate any chance of retaliation. It's fine, the police will arrive soon. Let us move. Baishi led the way,
Clearing the area.
My heart raced, and I could not help but ask, you clearly could have fought back. Why didn't you? Baishi stumbled slightly. You used anesthetics, and I only act in self-defense when in danger. And you are simply too reckless. If I had arrived even a moment later, you would have lost your life. Can't you discuss such matters with me next time? Baishi dispatched foes as effortlessly as chopping vegetables, overwhelming me with admiration. His grip on me was firm as he moved swiftly. We burst into the control room, and once he had dealt with those inside and thrown them into the sea, we momentarily found safety. There were still 15 minutes until rescue arrived. The four of us leaned against the alloy door, collectively exhaling in relief. Suddenly, the system spoke. Baishi, you have 15 minutes remaining. That is sufficient.
Bayon abruptly approached Subangwan. Misu. Subangwan looked startled. Eh?
In the next moment, she felt a sharp pain at the back of her neck and collapsed. Baishi, with an unreadable expression, dragged her to the center of the room, and I followed. Puzzled, he turned to me suddenly, pointing to a spot. In a gentle tone, he instructed, Xiao Wei, sit cross-legged there, and no matter what happens, do not move. Bewildered, I trusted him and complied. Baishi produced a brush from who knows where, positioning Su Wanwan carefully, then knelt on the ground, focused intently on drawing something. It vaguely resembled a formation. Wei Liang, I discerned your fate when I knew your birth details and cast a divination. Your destiny is misaligned, and your fortune is peculiar. As he painted with vermilion, he continued, when I lost consciousness, my sister managed to contact me. I have yet to tell you, she is the primary system, and I am here to assist. She revealed that Su Wanwan tampered with your fate using the system, evading the world's core. You are the true protagonist of this world. You were supposed to encounter Gu Jian much earlier. He was abducted and taken to the slums, and when you saved him, he developed feelings for you. The bullet comments you see are one of the consequences of her altering the main storyline. The second consequence is our appearance. To be honest, at this point, I found little that I could not accept. I inquired, then why did you knock her out and draw the formation? Because if I didn't incapacitate her, the system would likely possess her and retaliate, which would be quite troublesome. She completed all the intricate patterns and talismans. Wei Liang, I will help you revert it. He straightened, sitting at the last pivotal point of the formation. Baishi looked at Gu Jian. You must protect her. She cannot leave the focal point. If anything goes awry, she will. Gu Jian replied, I understand. Suddenly, the lights in the control room extinguished, plunging us into darkness. Yet, The formation on the ground glowed with a dim crimson light, and it felt as if something was flowing in the air, gradually gathering inside me. What I witnessed transcended ordinary comprehension. However, for some reason, as I gazed at Baishi meditating across from me, my heart began to race. Overwhelmed by an intense sense of foreboding, Baishi suddenly coughed, blood spilling from his mouth. He appeared to be drained of all his energy, his form gaunt and fragile. His once strong shoulders slumped. Baishi. Stop, stop. I attempted to rise, but Gu Jian firmly restrained me from behind. His voice trembled, Aoyang. Don't go over. You must not interrupt him now. Baishi violently coughed again, expelling a torrent of blood. His white shirt was instantly stained crimson. The young man's complexion pale, blood trickling from his lips.
Baishi.
My vision blurred with rage as I exerted all my strength to break free from Gu Jian's grasp.
Stop.
You must stop. Are you trying to throw away your life? You will die. Baishi remained deaf to my pleas, his eyes tightly shut, his trembling hands still engaged in the incantation. Time became indeterminate, and eventually, everything came to an end. The runes on the ground gradually dissipated and melted away.
Baishi collapsed.
I rushed over frantically, trembling as I propped him up. Baishi leaned against my shoulder, his face ashen, as if all his strength had been drained. The son of fate truly bears a heavy burden. You have lost your mind. A supporting character is just that. Damn it, I do not desire this fate. Tears fell from my eyes, one drop after another. Landing on his face, Baishi struggled to draw breath, attempting to lift his hand. If it doesn't change, her death will fall upon you. Su Wanwan will perish in this kidnapping incident. If it's not reversed today, you will die in her stead. System. Baishi, only 3 minutes remain. Unable to contain myself any longer, I broke down in tears. So you intend to die for me? Is that it? Who gave you the authority to make such a decision? Dying would still be my fate. But you shouldn't have such a destiny. Do not cry. Baishi smiled softly at me, reminiscent of the day he first appeared. I never intended to leave, even knowing your death fate. I kept it from you because I didn't want you to worry. I never meant to abandon you when realizing I had mistaken someone. I clung to him tightly, my sobs rendering each word difficult to articulate. I know, I'm sorry. My face pressed against his chest, tears mingling with blood. Baishi. I beg you, don't die. Baishi replied, do not cry, I will not die. I am sorry. There is something I have not told you. The moment I complete the task, I will be freed from this place. I cannot remain with you much longer. My heart sank like a heavy hammer. I forced a smile. No, it's all right. As long as you live, that is enough. I want to thank you. I can handle this alone. It's okay. Suddenly, the air raid siren blared, and helicopters buzzed noisily. Rescue had finally arrived. Wei Liang, Baishi called out suddenly, live well. The door burst open, and Su Wanwan was carried away on a stretcher. I supported Baishi, following closely behind them, step by step toward the deck. I kept saying, Baishi, hold on a bit longer. The medical personnel are coming. On the horizon of the sea, the sun slowly rose. The mission of the strategist Baishi to redeem the female protagonist has been completed. A sudden emptiness enveloped my shoulders, dissipating into the air with the breeze. The long night had passed. The sun rose over the sea, heralding the dawn. Yet my own sun had set. The barrage of comments before my eyes, like dust, faded away. I could no longer perceive the comments. As the cruise ship docked, loved ones reunited on the deck, their voices a cacophony of relief after surviving the ordeal. In the instant the signal was restored, my phone displayed the transfer notification from the previous night. I could no longer contain my emotions, collapsing to the ground, clutching my legs, and weeping uncontrollably. It was the 3rd day since I had encountered Baishi. He had departed from me. Thus concluded the narrative. Epilogue.
No one remembered Baishi.
He seemed as if he had never existed. The money in my mobile banking transformed into a lottery prize. However, all the thorns along the path of my life had been cleared by him, leaving behind a broad avenue. Gu Jian recalled memories from 2 lifetimes. After my 8th rejection of his proposal, he smiled bitterly. He has left. Do I still have no chance? Aoyang, in both lifetimes, you never loved me. In the last life, I could retain you with money. In this lifetime, I returned the imperial green jadeite to him. Over the year, I sought out one Taoist temple after another, visiting numerous welfare institutions. I understood the futility. This world could not possibly harbor Bai Shi. One day, Chun Chi suddenly appeared before me. The small orb of light by her side was also familiar. It belonged to the system associated with Bai Shi. Hello, Wei Liang. I am Bai Shi's sister, the main system Chun Chi, she stated. Your will is too strong. I have come at your summons, sister-in-law. My brother is well. The flow of time differs between our worlds. While a year has passed here, Bai Shi has only lain on the mountain for a month. Are you certain you wish to forsake everything in this world to bind with me? The lush green of the mountains, ascending step by step. The Taoist temple stood amidst the ethereal sea of clouds. The incense burned continuously, and tourists thronged. I paid for the incense, queuing to enter the hall for worship. As I rose from my prostration, a glimpse of white cloth caught my eye. A familiar, nonchalant voice echoed in my ears. Some seek wealth, some seek fate. What do you come here to request, benefactor? The youth beside the statue smiled, his features gradually merging with the memory I held. Before he spoke, tears had already begun to flow. Bai Shi was startled, rushing over to wipe my tears. I was teasing you. Please don't cry. I grasped his wrist. It was warm. He was alive. Bai Shi was taken aback, tightening his grip on my hand. I gazed at the person before me and softly replied, to seek a prior connection. To seek one person. I have come for you. My son, at last, shone upon me once more. The story concludes here. Thank you for listening. Until we meet again in the next tale.